gears a little bit and talk about internal mobility now, Tracy, with her product Worqdrive. I got the chance to see her pitch at HR Tech last year. There she is.
Hey, Chris.
How are you?
I'm good. I loved the Price is Right intro.
Come on down.
I'm a huge TPIR girl, and I was actually in LA a couple weeks or last week, and I was like, "Oh my God, Steve, get me tickets to be on Price is Right," and we couldn't make it work.
Oh, boy.
I know.
Yep, that show's been going on since I was a kid. So
same. That was my like must-have when I was sick home from school. Like I would watch Barb Barker, and I would do all the math.
Yeah,
and
Barb
I would
Barker. Yeah, I was a latchkey kid, so I watched all that stuff. It was a lot of fun. It's still a great show too. You know, it's amazing how long it's lasted.
Yeah.
That's
now awesome. We got Cleveland boy Drew Carey up there.
Yeah. I like what's it, Family Feud too with Steve Harvey. He's funny.
Right on.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's get into Worqdrive here. Just mouse over your picture. You see a share screen icon.
I do see a share screen icon.
Alrighty. And there's your screen. Can
you see it?
I can see it.
Right on. So I have a few setup slides. I'm not a big setup slides girl, but I thought this would be appropriate. The demo is nice and quick and tight. So just wanted to talk about the problem that we're facing with internal mobility, which is kind of twofold. Like all the data tells us that people want to stay, right? 94% from LinkedIn, even our own data. Based on how frequently people are logging into their Worqdrive accounts, people do want to stay. Yet in 2021, turnover cost U.S. businesses $2.4 trillion. So despite the fact that they want to stay, they're still leaving. So it tells me that we have a really big problem, and we've not quite tackled it the way that we could have, and that's what we're trying to solve with Worqdrive. So essentially, our solution reimagines that that employee experience. Instead of putting the onus on the employee to go out and search and do a broad scale search on the internal job board, which is just a repurposing of the external job board. And our data shows us that people are 5 times less likely to convert on an internal job than externals, right? So it's not working for them. So we've kind of reimagined that to allow them to match, as opposed to going out and doing a broad search, finding something that's a little too aspirational, not getting the interview, and being disappointed and leaving anyway. We focus on matching, and then on the flip side, allowing recruiters to tap internal talent for roles that they may match that recruiters are working. The other component of Worqdrive is we see so many dollars being poured into the top of the funnel to develop real strong funnels around diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. We're bringing people in more than ever, but we are not elevating them. With Worqdrive, it's actually happening because we're doing some really cool stuff with masked data to bubble up best skills for the job. And lastly, it's really important to know what talent is in the building and what skills they have. So we're really working with our customers to deliver that internal talent intelligence. And so with that, let me show you what we made.
All right.
So internally, you would, instead of going to your internal job board and logging in and doing an open search, what we're delivering for you is curated jobs that match your skill level, your skills, and your experience, as well as your aspirations. So you're not going to be able to go 6 levels up within the organization by doing a broad search and say, okay, I want to be the VP. No, we're looking at your next step up, maybe your next step 2 up, based on what we know about you from the existing data sets that you have. So Worqdrive ties into not just your applicant tracking system to serve up your jobs, but also your people systems to bring in that data. And then like Nebula, we have this fantastic matching algorithm that looks at those requisitions, does all of the parsing, does all of the intelligence, gives you that rec intelligence and matches it against somebody's skills, how they feel about those skills, what their experience is, how long they've been doing it, as well as their level of advocacy. So when somebody logs into Worqdrive, they're served up matching jobs that are on level or a level below, or maybe a level below, because we can't decide what talent, maybe talent wants to go over, and what we're learning from our data is that they do. So if this is a match, if Ashley, our demo person, wants to be a senior database analyst. She can look at the detail on this role, and if she fits this, it's as simple as clicking the apply button, reviewing her CV that we've collected about her, and clicking submit application. And it goes directly on the requisition within the applicant tracking system with a Worqdrive tag so that the recruiters know that that's an internal person. So we just put that person right on the requisition. That's the application, no fuss, no muss. But we're also curating learning and development. We're also asking for her to advocate for people. So there's a setup wizard. And during the setup wizard, we ask them about their skills, how they feel about it. It's usually 2 minutes long, 2 to 3 minutes long. And we have our current completion rate on our setup wizard is around 87%. So it's really high. People get through the system very simply because it's designed not to crash and not to error out. And so this is that advocacy component. And there's also this inbox feature where we can have recruiters send Ashley jobs that may match. So let me show you the recruiter experience really quickly.
All right.
So your recruiters, and you can see this is live on the internet, right? This is a real site. And our customers that use Worqdrive is branded for the customer. So here's an example of a customer's Worqdrive. It's branded in their colors, but for demo purposes, we've got it in our colors. And your recruiters are going to be able to match opportunities. So these are their open recs. They can view potential matches within the organization. And you'll see that it says matched person. And it does that absolutely on purpose. We are masking that name data, and we are scoring people based on how well they match that job from a skills, experience, and advocacy component. And we're bubbling up best skills for the job. So it's not somebody's favorite. It's not whoever has the most face time. And you might even discover hidden figures with your organization within Worqdrive. And if this is somebody that looks good to you, you can look at their detail. Again, they would have their skills decorated. And if this is a good person, you're going to send them an alert and it will end up in their inbox. We also have the ability to do open searching. Let's just look up Ashley because I know what she is. I know what her skills are. Where is she? There she is. So we can see how she feels about her skills, how long she's been doing these things. And if we do an open search, we can choose any of our open requisitions and send those directly to the person, and that'll end up in their inbox. And that's essentially our system. That's Worqdrive.
Very clean layout. I mean, I think it has to be too, right? To effectively do that kind of mobility, right? In terms of just
it does. And Chris, that was one of the things that we were super focused on, and what we saw were mistakes consistently made, right? You have to put a consumer grade interface on what you ask people to do, because all of our talent systems are designed for the use case of the business, which makes sense because they're the buyer. But if the end user, if the employee or the candidate is not engaged in that experience, they're not going to use it. Therefore, your system doesn't get adopted. So we really focused on designing for people.
Just a general question about mobility, if you could. So, like a huge corporation, I've never worked for a really huge corporation before, but like, what are the internal politics here as far as moving jobs go? So, if I'm looking for a job as an employee and I want to do something different, maybe, but my boss really loves me in my current role, like, how do I deal with that tension? Can you talk on that a little bit?
So if you're unhappy in your current role, your manager is going to lose you anyway.
Yeah.
Right. So most of our customers have a policy where you have to let your manager know when you are interviewing for a role, which is another reason why you anonymize the data, because there is this feeling of discomfort and concern around looking for something new, which is why we've anonymized the data, because we don't want to open that up to people and we don't want to put them at risk, which is why we have such a high adoption rate. Our system is so sticky. People are logging in every 6 days, Chris.
Nice. Give me a quick success story, if you could, from a client of yours.
Yeah, about a year ago, I don't know if everybody remembers, there was this big troop drawdown in Afghanistan. And our very first customer was like, hey, we need to put it in the hands of people who are over in a war zone. So it works beautifully on mobile. And they came to us and they're like, we're ready to roll this out to the first group of people. It was about 2,700 people who were in Afghanistan who had to get out of Afghanistan. So other countries in the region, other projects, other revenue producing projects. And they said 2,700 people, if you can save, 15, 20% of them, this is a huge win for your tool. We saved 43%. And we kept getting the same feedback from them, like, this alleviated all my stress. Like, I'm in a war zone. I've got to get out of country. And one of the great lessons that we learned was our setup engine. We weren't prepared for people to just type in random countries like Jordan and Qatar and Kuwait. So when we were reconciling, we were looking at the error logs. Oh my God, what does this mean? So then we were, backfilling it on the end, but they never errored out. We just accepted the entry and cleaned it up on the back end. So it was a really remarkable success story. It created a lot of comfort for this customer and their employees, which is, if we're talking about people first organizations, that's an example of putting your people first.
Yep. We have a question. What ATSs does Worqdrive work with?
Yes. So right now we're integrated with iSIMS, Greenhouse. I just lost my brains. Lever. And we are in process of working on integrations with a couple others. Stay tuned for those. And we have partnerships with PageUp and PandoLogic existing today.
Very cool. I'll tell you my internal mobility story real quick. So as we wrap this up, we are at 246. So I worked for Gartner back in the late 90s, mid to late 90s. And back then, I don't think we had an intranet, but like HR would post the roles on a server as a Word doc. Mm-hmm. And so I worked there for like 4 years. I had 3 different jobs. I worked in tech support. I worked as a web author doing HTML stuff, and as an analyst assistant working with the analysts. But how often does that still happen out there as far as like internal mobility goes from your experience?
I mean, it's rampant, and not just that, like, you knew about it. Right. How many? I think I saw the latest data from a bunch of different companies. Their internal traffic to their internal job board is right around 10% of their whole company, which to me means, okay, either 10% know about it and 90% don't know about it, or 10% really want to go somewhere else and 90% are fine. It's somewhere in between there. So I think there's a lot of problems with, we've just slapped an experience that already exists for externals and put it on internals and hoped for the best, and it's not working.
Yeah, I remember I was leaving tech support. I wanted to get out of there. And I remember kept refreshing the server folder there to see if they posted the roles. That was
I remember like all of my peers, whenever we wanted to move internally within the organization, how many times have you been told, oh, we have a plan for you? Right? Like, oh yeah, we've got big plans for you. And there is either A, no plan, or where's my voice in the plan, right?
To keep you there, yeah.
Whose plan is this? So that's another reason why we developed it the way we did. We really want to give the keys to the career management of your people to your people. Yeah. Because they're the ones that get to decide whether to stay or go, or whether to respond to something on LinkedIn or respond to one of your recruiters in-house.
Mara wants to know if you can include a video in your jobs.
Yes, video is coming. Video is coming. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else on the roadmap you want to mention?
Oh my gosh. So we just rolled out alumni. So when somebody leaves the organization, they'll still have access to Worqdrive.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
And recruiters will be able to source alumni as well, right? To include alumni. So reach out to them, bring them back. And then next month, we're rolling out mentorships where we're going to match people who want to mentor other people in skills. So we're rolling out mentorships. Back half of the year, early half of next year is career pathing. So we know what your aspiration is. We know where you are. How do we help you get there through learning and development, stretch assignments, mentorship, and gigs? And then the last one is manager visibility. So going back to your first question, Chris, how do I know who's on my team and what they think they can do and what they're saying they can do? And how can I help them build a stronger profile and suggest learning and development for them?
Good stuff, Tracy. Well, keep us up to date and stay in touch. And thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.